Brentford crowd rising to acclaim a Fulham legend. And before the game gets underway, Scott Minto, we should just touch on George Cohen's career, because attacking fullbacks like yourself owe so much to someone like him who really showed the way.
Absolutely, you know, a true legend of the game. And as I said to Resh, look, for him to play every single minute for England in the World Cup, and I think be vice-captain as well, you know, behind Bobby Moore, shows exactly the person, the character he was, as well as the player.
And we are about to get underway here at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Talksport is the place to be for the return of the Premier League. Both sets of players take the knee before kick-off to highlight the ongoing drive for diversity and inclusivity in football and beyond. And the World Cup has been won. Now the Premier League is back, and every single game across this Boxing Day, live and exclusive on the Talksport network. Tottenham in all turquoise, attacking the goal away to our right in the first half. Ivan Perisic with a dash down the left-hand side. He is eventually closed down, and Matthias Jansen wins it back and is cleared up towards the halfway line. But Tottenham quickly win it back, but now Norgard will try and clear for Brentford, and the ball is eventually out on the far side, and it will be a throw-in to the Bees. A reminder of their team once again: David Raya in goal, Jorgensen, Pinnock and Mee, their back three. Rulislev, Norgard, Janelt, Jensen and Henry across midfield, and Buemo and Tony in attack. The Spurs team: Forster in goal, a back three: Tanganga, Dyer and Lenge. The wing-backs are Doherty and Perisic, Højbjerg and Bissouma in midfield, Kulusevski and Son supporting Kane in attack. Bright sunshine here, clear blue skies overhead, bitterly cold temperatures as Brentford look to come forward now with Janelt right down the centre, wide to Mbeumo on the left, a high cross into the penalty area, blocked by Doherty, and the first corner in the Premier League since the World Cup goes to Brentford. Yeah, the first sort of minute, actually Spurs had the ball and were in Brentford's half, but then, yeah, it's gone down the other end. The ball came back to Harry Kane. It was a good first touch, but in the end, a couple of Brentford players around him nipped it. And that's what they'll look to try and do when they get the ball, try and counter-attack really quickly. I wouldn't be surprised to see both teams trying to do that today, but it's a corner for Brentford, and we know they're decent at set pieces. Matthias Jensen will take it. One of the Danish players involved on both sides today, who came home following the group stage in Qatar. Jensen in towards the near post, flicked on by Norgard, headed away eventually by Lenglet, headed back towards the near post by Rulislev, and it's behind, and Fraser Forster has the opportunity to take the goal kick. His first Premier League appearance for Tottenham. He was involved for 19 games for Southampton last season, and of course Hugo Lloris on the bench today. And I find that odd, Scott, to be honest, because if Forster picks up a knock, then he's in the game anyway. Nigel, I'm absolutely with you. I mean, who are we to disagree or argue with Antonio Conte? But, you know, if he's going to be on the bench, then why not start him? You know, because he, as you say, he's got to be ready to come off if anything happens. A little bit of a strange one for me. But again, maybe that's him trying to make a point about what he said pre-match about the World Cup players not playing. Harry Kane always has to start for me. Tanganga with a nervous ball out on the far side. He's playing as the right-sided central defender, which was a position he was occupying during the warm-up games before the resumption for Tottenham. Of course, they met Nice last week, and Lenglet has been shuffled across to the left with Dyer in the centre, and it was Tanganga's ball wide on the far side which has gone straight out of play. And it will be a long throw for Brentford. In fact, it goes all the way back towards David Raya, who is on the halfway line, the goalkeeper. High diagonal ball forward, looking for Pinnock, who rises to head the ball in field. And Mee was almost in on the edge of the penalty area, but it's scrambled clear by Tanganga. And it will be a throw in to Brentford on this near side with 3.5 minutes played on Talksport. The return of the Premier League. And it's Brentford 0, Tottenham 0. Yeah, they practiced that. I think it's one of those, if they're a little bit out of range of getting that long throw into the box, get it back to the keeper. And David Raya was on the halfway line, but really good crossfield pass. And Pinnock was there at the far post to head it in, and he did, but Spurs defended it well. Now I would expect with them just a few yards from the corner flag to get the ball in there. And Jensen uses a red towel to dry the ball, loops it in towards the near post, headed away by Kane initially. His second header eventually drops to Kulusevski on this near side, who was quickly closed down as he looks to clear. And it's gathered just in front of us here on the halfway line down the Brentford left by Rico Henry. A back flick from Jensen, looking to release Henry again, who is such an athletic presence in the wide area for Brentford, but it's bobbled out of play, and it will be a throw-in on this near side for Tottenham.
I think Jensen's been watching too much of Lionel Messi, hasn't he, with what he's trying to do there, the flick.
Boomed high into the clear blue skies here by Eric Dyer. Kane unable to gather, cleared away by Norgard. Now Son, still wearing that facial mask, plays it wide to this near side. It's so frenetic in the opening 5 minutes here on Talksport, and Brentford at the moment are winning so many more of the 50-50s as Pinnock slides it wide to the far side, and Jorgensen. And Buemo initially came short, but it's further wide to Ruderslev, and then Brentford will be patient and play the ball in field. Thomas Frank, who penned a new 4-year deal a couple of days ago, the Brentford first team coach, and he has done such a good job to bring this team into the Premier League and then keep them there last season.
Done a brilliant job, Nigel, really has. I remember when he took over from Dean Smith and it was just 1 win in 10, and there were a lot of Brentford fans thinking, well, hold on a second, maybe he's a good coach, but he's not a manager. The club stuck with him, expected to go up when they lost to Fulham in the playoff final, and I remember covering that game, and yet they bounced back again, and with automatic promotion the very next season. And last season they were brilliant. You're right, the arrival of Christian Eriksen was a big one, but for Brentford to be in the Premier League and to have survived in the Premier League, I mean, the fans must still be pinching themselves.
Yeah, now with an early ball forward now, looking to release Henry, but Forster, that huge hulking figure wearing all orange, the Spurs goalkeeper, comes out to gather. Eric Dyer offers himself as the shorter option, and players from both sides are having to shield their eyes from a very strong low winter sun here, as the clearance downfield from Forster is headed back by Pinnock, and now on the far side, and Buemo back towards Jensen. Tony waits in the centre. The cross was deflected though. Volley clear by Tanganga. Pinnock heads the ball in field, but into the path of Son, but a good recovery challenge from Norgard. And now Ruderslev on the far side. 6.5 minutes played here on Talksport, the home of the Premier League. As the top flight returns, you can hear every single match from the Premier League round only here on Talksport. And we have 10 games across the Talksport network in total just today. And if you download the Talksport app and go to the live commentary section, you can swipe between the games which are currently underway. The Premier League action here, and also over on Talksport 2, Sunderland against Blackburn from the Championship, also at that level. Millwall already a goal up in the noon kickoff at Watford, as it's played all the way back towards Forster. He clears downfield again, and Spurs not really enjoying their return to the Premier League at the moment.
I am. Don't you just love it, Nigel? I mean, look, the World Cup was brilliant. Absolutely. It really was. And obviously the EFL has been going on, League 1 and 2. The Championship's been going on for a couple of weeks now. But Boxing Day games, you know, they're just amazing. Great atmosphere here. And two teams who, at the moment, you can't call. You know, Brentford have started well. Tottenham are expected to win, but if they are to come away with all 3 points, they will have to play very well. What I would say is, in the first part of the season, the first half from Spurs have been nothing short of shocking, really. They haven't been that bad, but we know that Brentford will start well. We knew that they would.
Yes, and here at Vicarage Road, real drama. It is Watford 0, Millwall 1, and Watford have just been given a penalty, a real tangle in the penalty area. And we've got 2 players currently down. It's Mario Salvas making a driving run towards the edge of the area. He went down. Hassan Kamara is down as well. And now the referee is showing a red card too. So there is real confusion in that area. Millwall lead here thanks to the goal by Vogshammer. But as the challenge came in over on the far side, the referee, George Long, picking a ball up, and then Kamara involved. In fact, it's not going to be a penalty. Has he given a penalty? It looks like he has. Referee is now showing a second yellow card, a yellow card. And a lot of confusion here at Vicarage Road as to what the referee has given after an incident just in the area. Millwall lead by a goal to nil through Vogshammer. It is not going to be a penalty, but Kamara has been shown a red card, so the challenge has actually gone against Watford's Kamara, and he has been sent off. So no penalty, it's a free kick to Millwall after a challenge right on that far side, and Hassan Kamara has been shown a red card for a lash out there, and that is a red card in Watford's first half, which has got worse and worse, and they're now down to 10 men with that red card for Hassan Kamara, and Millwall get the game off and underway. The Watford goalkeeper Daniel Bachmann has been exceptional so far, making saves. Millwall did go in front through Andreas Vogshammer. He put them in front on 21, and that was very much the way the game was going. Watford thought they were back in the game moments ago, but the decision has gone Millwall's way, and the red card for Kamara as well for a bit of afters in the incident. And Watford have now a goal down, a man down, and they've also lost João Pedro to injury about 5 minutes ago. That has really made their day even worse. Still, they brought on Yasser Asprilla, the Hornets, and incredible to think that they were four games unbeaten, 4 successive clean sheets, flying high in 4th place in the table, and this first half for Slaven Bilic's side has been an absolute nightmare. Free kick to Watford on the left-hand side, be taken by Murray Wallace. Ball up towards the edge of the area. Flick on for Millwall, turning and shooting is Ian Fleming, and it's just blocked away in the Watford area. The home fans getting more and more frustrated here by the lack of anything really from their side so far, as now Watford get a free kick just outside their penalty area as Jake Cooper trying to maintain possession there for Millwall, and that has been closed down, and Watford do get themselves a free kick. 40.5 minutes played, 1-0 to Millwall on Talksport. Back to Brentford very shortly for the Brentford Spurs game. It's going to be a free kick now to Watford. They're midway inside their own half. It's Daniel Bachmann who will take it, and Watford, as I say, down to 10. Hassan Kamara shown red moments ago, and the ball sails out for a throw over on the far side, and it's in Millwall's favour. Millwall not in great form themselves prior to this game. Only 1 win in 6, but did score 4 at Preston, which was impressive. When they do show up, they're a good side, and they've been decent to watch so far of Millwall. As I say, saves being made by Daniel Bachmann. There's one really good double save for denying both Saville and Cooper just before Millwall went in front. But after they went in front through Vogshammer, he could have got a second goal moments later as well when he dragged a shot, and in the end that was clear. But really, Watford yet to get anything going at all. Millwall coming forward down there right hand side. Tom Bradshaw has the ball, but that's been cut out there by Dele Bashiru for Watford, playing it back into his back line. Watford trying to reorganise here, down to 10 men at this stage. It's over the halfway line though, with Dele Bashiru once more trying to find Ismail Sarr, and the referee will bring the game to a halt because there is an injury to Keenan Davis on the halfway line. In fact, looks like he's tangled with Jake Cooper. So on comes the Watford physio, but I think Slaven Bilic will be very keen indeed to get his side back in the dressing room at half-time. The way they've been playing so far, they really have struggled to get anything together at all. There was one penalty appear on 10 minutes when Keenan Davis went charging through. A bit of a tangle with Murray Wallace, but nothing was given there. And then that incident, just as you came to me, which involved Ismail Sarr coming in from the left-hand side, trying to combine with Kamara. George Long in the end got the ball for Millwall, and then it all kicked off over on the touchline, and eventually Kamara was shown a red card. 42 played here at Vicarage Road. It's Watford 0, Millwall 1.
Thanks to Dave Rowe. Apologies for the problems we have had here. Technically, 13 minutes played. You've missed nothing in terms of goal action. A free kick for Harry Kane for Tottenham, which was deflected high over the crossbar, his first real sight of goal since returning from the World Cup. But it remains Brentford 0, Tottenham 0. Scott Minto is alongside me here on Talksport, and just signs that Tottenham are beginning to find their way into the game after what was a fairly torrid start for them.
Yeah, absolutely, Nigel. And look, I expected Brentford to really go at Spurs in the first sort of 20 minutes, and they've tried to, but to be fair, Spurs, especially in the last 5 or 6, have spent a lot of time in the Brentford half. Yeah, you're right about the free kick. Not surprised to see Harry Kane sort of step up. And one thing I would say, his mentality is so strong. I don't worry about him sort of bouncing back, but he just needs to make sure he doesn't try to do too much on his own. Just try to play exactly how he would normally play. Because we know that, yeah, the mentality monster that he is, he will want to try and do everything. But at the moment, I'd say that Conte would be pretty happy.
Harry Kane, one of 11 Tottenham players involved in the World Cup. Only Manchester City's played more minutes as far as the Premier League is concerned during the tournament in Qatar. That could be an issue the longer the season goes on, as Mbeumo comes forward now for Brentford. High cross into the penalty area. Jensen with the volley deflected, and it's under the body of Forster, and Brentford have taken the lead. Matthias Jensen will claim it. It took a deflection inside the penalty area. Vitaly Janelt may have been the player who got the final touch, but it was a real mess from Spurs' point of view. And all of those World Cup players have returned to the Premier League, and already they are a goal down. It is Brentford 1, Tottenham 0.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? We talked about how actually Spurs have probably been the better of the two sides, certainly in the last 5 or 10 minutes. And it's actually a simple long ball over the top. Ivan Toney gets the flick on. Bryan Mbeumo picks it up, and he just dinks it to the far post. When there's a volley, it's a save from Fraser Forster, and I think he should be doing better there. If he's not going to actually stop it, then he needs to make sure he kicks it away, and he doesn't. It's literally 2 yards in front of him, and fair play to Janelt as well. Right place, right time, almost that Frank Lampard type of run from midfield, and he's not going to miss him there 3 yards out. From Spurs being not in total control, but the better of the two sides. It's amazing how things can change with just a moment.
Only his second goal of the season. He scored against Everton back in August, but Vitaly Janelt has scored the opening goal since the return of the Premier League, as Tottenham have lost out again. It's Tanganga in trouble on this near side, and he bowls over Toney. David Coote, the referee, not giving a free kick. Here is Janelt again, back towards Toney, and now Janelt will find me on this near side with the fair hair. Now Toney with a good ball down the line, looking for Henry, and it's blocked at the near post by Tanganga. And it's all Brentford at the moment, with 16 minutes played here on Talksport, leading by a goal to nil. And we have to say, Scott Minto, this is a typical Tottenham first half. Well,
I actually don't think they've been that bad, Nigel. I think they had a bit of a poor start in the first 5 or 10 minutes, but then they came into the game. But it's just a simple ball, sort of long pass. Ivan Toney winning that flick on. Bryan Mbeumo having too much time. And suddenly, when you're 3 at the back and you've got wing-backs as well, you shouldn't be caught out that easily and that quickly. And, you know, the man was free at the far post. Forster didn't make the save. People will be saying, if that was Lloris, would he have caught that himself or made sure he got the clearance further away? But look, Janelt, you have to say great credit to him. He gambled. He didn't know if the ball would come to him. It did. Right place, right time, and now the game has changed. So, yeah, Spurs fans, you've got to get used to this, haven't you, being 1-0 down. But we know what they're like, pre-World Cup. They're able to come back. Can they do it again today?
And the ball is behind for a corner once again, conceded from another long throw. Matthias Jensen will take it. An in-swinger deeper this time, flicked on by me. And in the end, the ball dropping underneath the crossbar. And Fraser Forster had an age to watch that. And in the end, just flapped it over the crossbar for another corner.
Well, we'll just look pictures of going from Forster to Lloris, because we know that Forster's just having a tough couple of minutes. I think he could have caught that. And even if he'd been bundled into the goal, then that would have been as a foul. But I think it goes to show that even though he's played in big games, and, you know, we know what playing for Celtic can be like when you're in that Old Firm derby, he's looking a little bit nervous at the moment. So if I were Brentford, I'd try and pepper the goal as much as possible.
It will be an outswinger this time from Bryan Mbeumo. Down the left-hand side, high towards the far post, headed up in the air by Hojbjerg, headed back into the penalty area by me, and then Son will eventually just hoof the ball up to the halfway line. And that is the 6th successive Premier League game in which Tottenham have conceded the opening goal.
Well, it's not good, and obviously that's something that Conte would have been working on during the during the World Cup, and saying, look, we cannot afford to go 1-0 down. Well, blimey, they've done it again. It's a bit like Groundhog Day in that sense. Again, we shall see, because we know that Spurs have the ability, once they try and step it up in the second half, to go on and win games. But boy, do they make it difficult for themselves.
And it's now 9 games in all competitions in which they've conceded first. There's a throw-in from Doherty on this near side, headed away by Henry. And it will be a throw-in for Spurs once again. 18 minutes played here on Talksport. The first of 10 commentaries across the Talksport network on this Boxing Day. Sunderland against Blackburn underway over on Talksport 2 with Mike McCarthy and Neil Redfern. At 3 o'clock here on Talksport, we'll have Leicester against Newcastle. Adrian Durham will be alongside Ian Danta and Chris Owellamo. Everton Wolves will be over on Talksport 2 with Mark Wilson and Dean Saunders. We'll also have Palace against Fulham and Saints against Brighton available on the Talksport app. And then more Premier League action at 5:30. Villa against Liverpool with Adam Bridge and Stuart Pearce. And then at 8 o'clock, Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin will bring you Arsenal against West Ham. All live and exclusive to national radio here on Talksport and Talksport 2 as Mbeumo chasing another long ball forward on the far side. At the moment, Brentford are winning so many second balls inside the Spurs defensive third, but Tottenham do have a throw-in by the corner flag on the far side.
They are such a handful, Brentford, aren't they? Especially at home with the crowd behind them. And Bryan Mbeumo might not be a kind of out-and-out goal scorer, but he is a defender's nightmare. And him and Ivan Toney, they are a very, very good partnership.
Bryan Mbeumo was part of the Cameroon team, played all 3 group games at the World Cup. Of course, they famously beat Brazil on their way out of the competition. 20 minutes played here. You're listening to Brentford against Tottenham on Talksport with Now Sports. Don't forget, with Now Sports, you can stream all the Premier League action live without a contract from $11.99. Search Now Sports. 18 plus, stream via the internet. Terms do apply. Now Eric Dyer, square to Tanganga. And his first Premier League game since January has been a difficult one for him so far. Kulusevski infield to Basuma, who careers into the challenge with Norgard, but it's the Brentford captain who comes away with the ball, and then Kulusevski with a foul on Henry just in front of us, and it will be a free kick. And then Henry and Kulusevski have some afters on this near side, pushing and shoving. Vitaly Janelt tries to intervene, and David Coote, the referee, will just have 1 or 2 words. Half-time at Vicarage Road in the Championship. Here is Talksport's Dave Rowe.
Watford 0, Millwall 1. Millwall deservedly in front. Andreas Vogsheimer with the goal on 21. Good play by Tom Bradshaw to hold the ball up, lay it square. And Vogsheimer with the finish. Daniel Bachmann made 3 excellent saves to keep the score down. As far as Watford were concerned, the home side have been awful. They'd lost João Pedro to injury, and they saw Hassan Kamara see red, his second red card of the campaign after a clash with Dan McNamara. Watford 0, Millwall 1.
Thanks, Dave. Free kick here for Brentford. Bryan Mbeumo is over it. 21 minutes played here on Talksport at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford leading Spurs by a 1-0. Vitaly Janelt scoring the first goal in the Premier League since the World Cup. Now the free kick again is worked well. And Janelt with a volleyed ball into the penalty area down the left-hand side. It's kept alive now by the German, but one back by Kulusevski. And Tottenham will try and break now with Sol, who does well to hold the ball up and spins away to this near side. The challenge comes in from Norgard, but it's quickly won back by Basuma. It loops high into the air on the halfway line. Janelt then lobs it over the top, looking for the pace of Toney. And it's cleared away by Dyer. And Tottenham at the moment are having to play so many balls high up into the air under real pressure until Dyer checks the ball down to Lenglet, who in turn just lumps it high over the halfway line.
Do you know what, Nigel? Modern day football has changed a lot in terms of what you do without the ball is as important as what you do with it. And Brentford is so good in the way that not giving Spurs players any time on the ball at all. Even if they're playing 2-touch, there's always a Brentford player very close to a Spurs player as well. And Spurs just aren't able to get into a rhythm at the moment.
And both Toney and Mbeumo are injured here. Mbeumo is down on his haunches, Toney just holding the back of his head. So David Coote will just call a halt to proceedings here. Maybe thinks about some treatment. Mbeumo looks to be struggling, and now the referee is heading towards Fraser Forster. And in fact, there's a drop ball, which is one of the more pointless drop balls we've seen, because he ran 25 yards there to drop the ball at Forster's feet, who had the ball anyway. In a thin strip of winter sunshine on the far side, Son gathers for Tottenham. Back towards Eric Dyer, who did not start a single game for England at the World Cup, came off the bench twice. Son on the far side. Wide to Perisic, who was winning a bronze medal for Croatia only 9 days ago. But he's back into the action in the Premier League straight away. Basuma into the shadows on this near side, and Doherty back towards Basuma again. One of 5 Tottenham players brought into the team today. Of course, Bentancur is suspended. Kane lays it back to Koibert. Now Son on the edge of the penalty area, twists onto the right foot, fires in the shot, but it bounces up kindly into the midriff of David Ray.
Do you know what? Son was another one who perhaps could be disappointed with the World Cup, but again, you look at him, you look at Harry Kane, what they're trying to do. I don't have a problem with them from a mental point of view, but it's just at the moment they're not able to get close to the goal in any stretch of the imagination, and really good defending there from the Brentford back three.
1-0 to Brentford, 24.5 minutes played here on Talksport. And we will have 17 live commentaries coming up before the end of the year across the Talksport network. And 14 Premier League commentaries over the festive period. Is a high ball over the top, looking for Mbeumo again, just able to allow the ball to drop, but then he can't gather ahead of Forster on the edge of the penalty area. And Tottenham at the moment going 1-for-1 against the likes of Toney and Mbeumo, and it could be a very dangerous game they're playing.
Yeah, interesting as well. Ivan Toney was the one who dropped off so far. He took the free kick, and it's a quick free kick inside his own half for Bryan Mbeumo, and Mbeumo is nearly in. Ivan Toney at the moment, he's not just a number 9. We're talking about Harry Kane, he can be a great number 10. Ivan Toney's becoming such a good footballer that he's able to drop off and almost be that number 10 as well.
Now Doherty on this near side. Further on to Kulusevski, who drives into the penalty area beyond me. Onto the left foot, low shot from him, and gathered well by Ray at the near post.
It's the first time Kulusevski's really got in down the right-hand side and then past his fullback. It's a real good battle there. In fact, it wasn't past Henry, but he got into the box and he just sort of thinking, look up, there's going to be some shot from there to score. Someone's got to get it across the near post. That didn't happen, but he should have crossed it rather than had a shot.
Now Kulusevski has been challenged by Norgard and stayed down. Jensen plays it wide to this near side, and David Coote has now halted play as Antonio Conte, just in front of us, runs a hand through his hair and heads back to the Tottenham bench. It's been a fairly awkward opening 26 minutes here for his team. A goal down, and they have been second best in many of the one-to-one confrontations as Janelt plays it forward again, cleared by Tanganga, straight to Henry, and now on the edge of the penalty area, Mbeumo has been bowled over by Hotspur, who claims he went for the ball and got the ball, but David Coote disagrees, and it's another set piece here for Brentford. Well,
it's a really rash challenge and one he didn't need to make. It's a definite foul, didn't get any of the ball, and Bryan Mbeumo or Ivan Toney are really giving this back three a lot of problems, because one of them is dropping off in between, behind the midfield and in front of that back three, and then running at them as well. Hotspur trying to help out, but it's a rash challenge and it's a free kick in a very dangerous position.
And Mbeumo is over it once again. It's about 25 yards from goal, left of centre, and he's set up here to flight this ball in, although Jensen could whip the ball in with the right foot. Fraser Forster just sorting out a two-man wall, but it's left for Mbeumo. Every outfield player inside the Tottenham half, as the free kick was nicely delivered in towards the 6-yard area and headed over the crossbar in the end by Eric Dyer for another corner kick.
Yeah, he's got a great left foot, hasn't he, Bryan Mbeumo? Just a little bit too far out and too much to the side to have a shot, so he just glided it in with whip. And that's a really good header. It's one that defenders hate, facing your own goal, but Eric Dyer did really well there.
Brentford unbeaten in all 16 previous Premier League games in which they've scored the opening goal. And they are leading this game at the moment with 28 minutes played on Talksport. Mbeumo will take the corner kick. Pinnock makes the run to the near post, but it's beyond him. Forster comes a long way and gathers at the second attempt. And there were one or two oohs and ahs there from both Brentford and Tottenham fans as he challenged for that.
Yeah, I just think he's not quite settled down yet, Forster. You know, he'd come out and catch that normally first go. He did well to get it a second go, but yeah, I just feel there's the moment he's still getting used to being in a Premier League side.
Now Son wide to the left-hand side, and Perisic. He's got support at the near post, but the cross is high beyond everybody, gathered by Doherty. He's got support on this near side from Kulusevski. Tanganga is further back, but Kulusevski again hits the byline, crossed into the near post, headed away by a stooping Norgard, gathered now by Dyer. who comes forward. Square to Son. Onto the left foot. Low shot from him, and it's gathered well by the foot of the post by David Raya.
The moment he put it onto his left foot, even though he is two-footed, I just thought that's got to be some strike to beat a keeper like David Raya from there. 25 yards out. It was a decent strike, but Raya's, I tell you, he's one of the top goalkeepers in the Premier League, and it's going to be some strike, as I say, to stick it in the top corner from there.
29 minutes played. You're listening to Brentford 1, Tottenham 0 on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today. Son again moving forward for Tottenham down the left, tries to squirt it infield towards Kane, but it was deflected and then cleared by Pinnock, who went for the early ball forward looking for Jensen, but Brentford were rather caught on their heels there.
Sorry, this is the reaction that Antonio Conte would have wanted. They're 1-0 down. Okay, how are you going to react to it? And at the moment, it is all Spurs. They're not really creating sort of clear-cut opportunities. But even now, when Brentford get the ball, they're under pressure and they're just knocking the ball long and giving it away.
Half an hour played. Brentford leading here by a 0-0. Over on Talksport 2, it is Sunderland 1, Blackburn 1. Ross Stewart scoring at both ends there within 4 minutes, giving Blackburn the lead, then equalising for Sunderland with a penalty. That game continues over on Talksport 2 at half-time, as we heard. Millwall leading at Watford by a 0-0. And later on in the Championship at 5:15, Alex Crook and David Connolly will bring you Queen's Park Rangers away to Cardiff from the Championship on Talksport 2, the home of the EFL, as Kane is challenged here by Pinnock. And we've seen very little of Harry Kane so far, as he eventually tries to win it back from Rico Henry just in front of us, and there is sufficient pressure to ensure that it's a throw-in for Spurs on this near side. And we have all of the big games covered at the start of the holiday period here on Talksport. Arsenal West Ham at 8 o'clock tonight, following Aston Villa against Liverpool at 5:30. Then tomorrow night, 5:30, Chelsea against Bournemouth. 8 o'clock, Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. And then on Wednesday, we have Leeds against Manchester City. All of those games live and exclusive to national radio here on Talksport. What a start to the Premier League return. Now Basuma wide to the far side, and all of the Brentford players who were involved in the World Cup went out in the group stage. David Raya was the backup goalkeeper for Spain when they were beaten by Morocco in the round of 16. And Brentford at the moment do look a bit more sprightly as it's flicked on by Tony, but won back well by Dyer. And now Kulusevski, and of course a unique situation here for all of these players coming back to Boxing Day football following a World Cup. It's never happened before, but you just get the feeling it will happen again.
Yeah, if FIFA have their way, I think it might. I'm not 100% against it. I do prefer summer World Cups, though. You know what? If it happens, you just got to deal with it. As I say, control the controllables. And in terms of controlling the controllables, I think Brentford will be absolutely delighted with what they've done here so far. I don't think Spurs have played really bad. I've seen them play a lot worse this season in the first halves, but they've not been able to test David Raya enough.
Now a flick on from Mbeumo. Here is Tony, left-hand side of the penalty area. Tries to feed it back towards Mbeumo, but it's blocked by Dyer. Now Henry finding Norgard on this near side. Norgard under pressure from Tanganga, and he's stayed down, but Brentford maintain possession here. And Norgard is back on his feet as Jorgensen plays it wide towards Jensen. Now Jorgensen down the line, inviting Mbeumo to chase, but Lenglet gets there first, but all he can do under pressure is just hack the ball out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Brentford. And they are very lively on the restarts here, looking to get the ball back in play as quickly as possible. But on this occasion, Jensen will just be given the opportunity to gather the ball, wipe it on his shirt, and maybe hurl it long towards the edge of the penalty area once again. 33 minutes played here on Talksport. Brentford leading Tottenham by a 0-0. And if you're heading to a game today, wrap up warm. Jensen with a long throw in towards the near post, flicked away initially by Perisic, but Brentford keeper alive, and the volley towards the near post is blocked in the end. It was Jorgensen with the shot, and Forster this time doing well to prevent Tottenham going 2 goals down.
Yeah, it was quite an unorthodox save as well. I mean, Spurs should have dealt with it better. The shot comes in, and in fact, he does right. Look, it doesn't matter how you get rid of it, whether it's your hands or whether it's your feet, and I think it's something he maybe could have caught it himself, but again, he just wants to play safe. The thing is, at the moment, Brentford's just applying a bit more pressure and set pieces. If they were to go 2-0 up, that will make it very difficult for Spurs to come back from this.
Mbeumo with the corner again, and in-swinger towards the 6-yard area, fisted clear by Forster this time. Headed back in field by Jensen, but Spurs will clear, and Jensen does well to gather before Son on the halfway line, then shimmies away from a challenge, plays it high towards the edge of the penalty area. Doherty rising on this near side ahead of Tony, but Brentford keep the ball alive well. Jensen, the home crowd right behind them here in the opening 35 minutes, leading by a goal to 0. Mbeumo with a ball into the area looking for Norgard. He was just closed down as he looked to break into the penalty area by Dyer, and it spins away off the Brentford captain behind for a goal kick. But it's a classic Boxing Day scene here. A home crowd came here bleary-eyed, but they're pumped up now because the team are playing well.
I thought that was just you, Nige. No, absolutely. I expected nothing less from the crowd here as well. You know, and Brentford, I knew would be up for this game, and Spurs had to mentally. And as I say, that it's not as if they've played really badly, but they haven't tested David Raya enough. And of course, the one moment, the difference so far in the game, they defended really poorly with the goal.
The Spurs have come from behind to win 4 times in the Premier League this season, so we shouldn't be too surprised if we do see some sort of revival here the longer the game goes on, and Brentford may believe they need that second goal. I
mean, we talked about it before the game though, Nigel. You can't keep on going a goal behind and expecting to win all the time.
Henry with a high volley ball forward now, looking for Mbeumo on the edge of the penalty area, but Dyer stands firm to win the header. Spurs were behind 3 times in their previous Premier League game, and they still beat Leeds 4-3.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Brentford, you know, they're still looking over the shoulder and want to get away from the relegation zone, but Brentford away is not an easy game, and you can't go 1-0 down and just suddenly expect to turn it on in the second half and win 2-1. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Conte does at half-time, if he makes any changes in personnel. I doubt he will in terms of system, but they can't keep on going a goal behind and expecting to get all 3 points.
Arsenal, the only team to win here in the Premier League so far this season by 3-0. That was back in mid-September. Now Tanganga on this near side for Tottenham, finding Basuma. Koibert, and it's a good ball from him. Lenglet charging forward. The shot from him was deflected left-footed, cleared away by Me on the edge of the 6-yard area. One back though. Koibert now on the edge of the penalty area, looking to bulldoze his way through, and in the end the ball evaded his grasp and it's cleared away by Raya, but a good header down by Basuma to the left-hand side. Perisic has got Kane in support, wide on the left-hand side. And now Perisic again. And we saw him have such a good World Cup as Croatia finished 3rd. And here is Doherty now. And Kulusevski down the right. Curls across into the penalty area, headed away by Jorgensen, and Mbeumo heads it down. Tony claims he was fouled by Eric Dyer, and David Coote disagrees. And with 8 minutes to play in the first half, Brentford leading by a goal to 0 have a free kick on the edge of their own penalty area.
No, it's a foul. It's definitely a foul. But again, you know, Spurs sort of getting into the final third. Brentford's so good at 1, getting numbers back, but 2, actually picking up players and also doubling up on the person who has the ball. So it's very difficult for Kulusevski to get a quality cross in. It wasn't a good ball in. It was headed out. The ball came to Tony. He got the touch in behind. And now they can kill the game for another 10, 20, 30 seconds. Just what Thomas Frank and his side would have wanted. So poor that from Eric Dyer.
Still Sunderland 1, Blackburn 1 over on Talksport 2. And it's a very good day to download the Talksport app if you haven't already done so, with commentaries on Talksport 1, Talksport 2 and the app today, with 10 games in total. And if you do download the app from the usual provider and then go to the live commentary section, you can swipe between the games in progress and enjoy the full spectrum of the action as David Raya finds Jensen on the edge of the penalty area. Back again towards Raya, wearing all yellow. Again, his clearance is rather sliced, and then Tanganga leaps in the air, leaves plenty on Janelt, who's gone down clutching the back of his head, and it will be a free kick for Brentford midway inside their own half.
Yeah, he's caught it. I think it's head on head though, so I don't think there's in terms of a booking or a sending off, nothing like that. Just headed the back of Janelt's head. I love that bit of full-back defending there from Rico Henry. Kulusevski's put it round one side, he's gone round the other, he's tried to out-sprint him, and Rico Henry's just gone, no, I'm not having any of that.
I'm maybe slightly surprised that Rico Henry wasn't in the conversation for England in the World Cup, because you look at the left-back options and they are fewer in that area than maybe other areas of the back four.
I think that was the one area where Gareth Southgate would have said, you know what, we're a little bit light. I don't blame Gareth, though, for not bringing him or Dan Burn or anyone like that. But what I would say to those players now is you've got 18 months to get into the next squad, or certainly for the tournament anyway. And Rico Henry, I think, has got the ability to play for his country. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he finishes this season, does next season, whether he gets a chance by Gareth as well. Because, you know, you get the feeling it's going to be Gareth's last tournament, whatever.
Well, Janelt is back on his feet here. The stretcher was briefly out, but he's okay to continue. The goal scorer for Brentford here so far on Talksport as we head towards half-time. Brentford leading here by a 1-0. Don't forget, coming up at 3 o'clock, Leicester against Newcastle here on Talksport. Everton against Wolves will be over on Talksport too. Palace, Fulham and Saints Brighton will be available on the app, with Villa against Liverpool at 5:30 and Arsenal against West Ham at 8 o'clock over on Talksport 2 later on today. 5:15, Cardiff against Queen's Park Rangers. 7:45, Luton against Norwich, and that's a very big game, you feel, for the former Brentford manager Dean Smith now, as Brentford do win a free kick, or rather concede a free kick midway inside the Tottenham half, and Clement Lenglet will take it. Player who scored such an important goal for Spurs on match day 6 of the Champions League against Marseille. Of course, they came through their group and have Milan to look forward to in mid-February, so much still to play for Tottenham this season, as Basuma inside the centre circle finds Tanganga, a player with very little first-team action behind him. Now Doherty with a poor ball back in field. It was intercepted by Tony, but Spurs were slightly fortunate he didn't find Mbuemo. But again, Brentford pick up the pieces around the centre circle. Jensen infield to Janelt once again, with 3 minutes to play in the first half here on Talksport. Brentford leading by a 0-0, and they've only lost 4 games in the Premier League so far this season. Arsenal, Newcastle and Manchester City are the only clubs who have been beaten on fewer occasions. Brentford, though, have been the draw specialists, which has maybe halted their progress up the table at times, although of course they did win at Manchester City in the previous game. What
it does tell you, though, Nigel, is they're difficult to beat. So actually, once they go a goal up, you don't often see them losing the game. So this is going to be some second half from Spurs if they are to come away from all 3 points.
Now Basuma, always lost out. And now it's quickly won back by Jensen, forward to Tony. Tony is onside down the centre. It's a great chance for Tony. He's gone beyond Forster. It's 2-0. And the flag is raised for offside, and it won't count. And that's a flag which could have been raised moments before even Tony got the ball.
Wow. I'll tell you what, obviously he's not put it up, because we're going to wait to see whether he is absolutely right here for the VAR.
Was he inside his own half? Not quite.
No, he was just in the Spurs half. And to be fair to the Spurs back line, they held their line really, really well. Ivan Toney was trying to do it, but once the ball was played, I'm pretty sure that the referee's assistant eventually got the decision right. But how cool was Ivan Toney there? You know, those one-on-one situations, they're not easy, because thoughts can go through your head. What do I do here? And he was really composed. He went round Fraser Forster and stuck the ball in the back of the net. And we're just waiting still now on VAR to confirm, and he is. Yeah. He was offside, so correct decision. And I must admit, I'm with you, Nigel. I hate that the referee's assistant don't put the flag up straight away, but in that particular instance, he did the right thing just to see if he was spot on. Imagine if he wasn't offside and he put the flag up straight away.
Stuart Outwell is the VAR today at Stockley Park, and he was just a couple of yards inside the Brentford half as Kane at the other end nods it down looking for Son, but it's played well by David Raya. But as Scott Minto was saying, it was such a cool finish there from Ivan Toney, rounding Fraser Forster to slip the ball into the net. But you always got the feeling the flag was going to be raised even before he finished it. But again, Tottenham were wide open down the centre, having given the ball away themselves.
Well, I'll tell you what, from a defender's point of view, and I speak from experience, you're playing offside and you're looking across the line. The flag doesn't go up straight away. Obviously, times have changed a little bit. They're waiting, the referee's assistants now. We know why, but you are hoping, praying, thinking, please put your flag up, because Ivan Toney, there was almost never any doubt, really, that he was going to stick the ball in the back of the net, and then it's down to the referee's assistant and VAR.
Thrown down the line by Doherty on this near side, but it's one back. Toney again, and now Janelt lofts it wide looking for Jensen, but coming in field it was one back briefly by Perisic. We're into a minimum of 4 more minutes in the first half. A high ball forward again, headed away by Tanganga on the edge of the penalty area. Now Mia's forward to find Janelt 25 yards out wide to this near side, but Doherty steps in before Henry, and Henry could be out of position here as Kulusevski has played Doherty in down the right. Kane in field. Here is Son. Son's got Højbjerg running off him to the left. He finds Kane inside the penalty area. Kane plays it wide, looking for either Perisic or Kulusevski, but Kulusevski had stayed where he was, and it's swooped on by David Raya.
Yeah, I think he was trying to play in Højbjerg there, who you could see he's more of a holding midfielder than certainly an attacking player, because actually it was the right idea from Harry Kane, just Højbjerg didn't make that run.
Well, it's flipped on by Toney into the path of Mbeumo, and Basuma will find Tanganga. Currently Brentford 1, Tottenham 0. Here are the latest stars from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Brentford to win at 4-3 on, Tottenham to win at 18-5, or back the draw at 15-5, all thanks to Betfair. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Now Kane does well to ride the challenge of Jorgensen, and he's got space on this near side into the path of Kulusevski, wide to Doherty. Now Kulusevski again, Tanganga joining in, and there's been a switch here with Tanganga just moving wide to the right for a moment. Basuma infield to Højbjerg, and in the sunshine here is Perisic now with the cross into the penalty area, looking for Kane, cleared away as far as Højbjerg with the volley. Didn't really have time to set himself. It was blocked on the edge of the penalty area by Janelt, and once again Brentford, through force of numbers, just ensure Tottenham have to build again from the halfway line. Lenglet with a high ball forward, it's nodded down by Kane, and Harry Kane's only been involved sporadically at times. Højbjerg, Kane again on the edge of the penalty area, given room to turn this time by Pinnock, and he's brought Lenglet into the play. Now Son onto the right foot in towards Doherty, who was the furthest player forward, but Pinnock is able to clear, and then on the halfway line Tanganga again hauls down his opposite number Ivan Toney, and it will be a free kick. And Japhet Tanganga at times, Scott, we have to say, has looked like a player filling in. Yes,
and what I would say is Ivan Toney, I mean, again, we talked about how players coming back from the World Cup would react. Well, what about the players who felt they should have been at the World Cup? And Ivan Toney, again, you know, just beforehand scored 2 goals at the Etihad, and he's playing just as well today. He really is. He's leading the line so well, and he's a clever player. He's not just sort of powerful and explosive, but he's got that football intelligence. He knows when he gets the touch, when he should go down and win the free kick and relieve a bit of pressure for his side, but he also knows when to take the touch and no, I'm not going down because I'm in a good position and we can make something of this. So yeah, again, not surprised at all, but interested not just how Harry Kane would be playing, but also Ivan Toney, and Toney at the moment has been brilliant.
Cleared downfield from the free kick by Raya. Rising unchallenged was me on the edge of the penalty area to head the ball in field, but Lenglet will clear. And here is Son, an injection of pace from him over the halfway line, wide towards the left-hand side, and Son evades Jensen, cuts in field towards the edge of the penalty area. Now Højbjerg takes over. A pirouette from him, and it's wide towards the left, and Perisic, the high cross in, Doherty on the lunge, under pressure from Rico Henry at the far post, and the ball, in fact, has spun away on this near side for a Tottenham throw. That was brilliant defending by Rico Henry. Now Kulusevski into Doherty again. The Brentford supporters around us want the half-time whistle. The cross was deflected, and in the end, David Raya did really well to stretch ahead of Harry Kane to gather as the half-time whistle goes, and the home crowd around us here very happy with what they've seen. Brentford leading by a 1-0, a close-range finish from Vitaly Janelt after Matthias Jensen was denied by Fraser Forster. The only goal so far in the game, but Brentford have gradually carried more of a threat the longer the first half has gone on. We've seen Spurs attacking sporadically, but many of their efforts have been from long range, and they've been comfortable for David Raya. And yet again, Spurs will have to come from behind in a Premier League game. Half-time, Brentford 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
Nigel Adderley, thank you very much. Yeah, Spurs will have to come back from behind if indeed they can. Yet again, Scott Minto, it's a bit like Groundhog Day, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we said before the World Cup that the first half's not been good enough from Spurs. I don't think their performance has been shocking, I really don't, but they haven't tested David Raya enough. And then the defending for the goal just wasn't good enough. So, yet again, World Cup may have come and gone, but now Groundhog Day, they've got to come back
Spurs, isn't
from
it?
behind and get all 3 points somehow.
Is it a World Cup hangover, or is it just Spurs picking up where they left off? I mean, it feels as though Brentford are the team that are chomping at the bit to go. They're a goal up for their desire and for their efforts as well, and Spurs seem second best in every single department.
Yeah, look, I mean, we talked about the City-Liverpool game and how good that was, and there was no World Cup hangover there. I actually don't think there's a World Cup hangover here either. It is almost like normal service resumed. Spurs not very good in the first half. Brentford being at home, trying to get at it. There were times where Spurs were controlling the game, but again, without creating any clear-cut chances. And I've been on Harry Kane watch as well, and he's just a little bit off the pace at the moment. Half a yard. His first touch is good, but he's not really getting into the box as much as he could possibly do. Sometimes his hold-up play, and that's actually to do with Brentford because they've got 2 or 3 players around him all the time. They're surrounding him and Son, defending so well, but yeah, he and his teammates need to step up in the second half.
Yeah, they certainly do. And what have you made of Fraser Forster's debut in goal today? Obviously, Hugo Lloris, having played the World Cup final, is on the bench today. Even on the TV images, there were a few times where we would see Fraser Forster looking a little bit sort of like he's fumbling the ball a little bit, and then the shot would go straight to Hugo Lloris, completely expressionless. But you wonder what's on his mind. A penny for his thoughts, maybe.
Well, both Nigel and I think that if you're going to put Hugo Lloris on the bench, then you might as well start him. Because he's got to have that sort of match day mentality. And Fraser Forster has played in some big games in his career, but I do think he looks a little bit nervous. I think for the goal, he could have done better, either saved it or kicked it away, not into the path of Janelt. I think there's times where he's come out for a cross, and you could say he did well to grab it the second time, but, someone with confidence would have grabbed it the first time. So if I were Brentford, I'd say, look, try and pepper the goal, get shots in, get crosses in, and test him, because that next goal, Resh, is absolutely crucial. If Spurs do get it, they are so back in the game. I could see them going on and winning it. But if Brentford get it, I can't see them coming back from 2-0 down.
Interestingly, David James tweeted that with regard to the criticism that Fraser Forster is getting, he said, well, that first, for Janelt's goal, he said the first ball took a wicked deflection. I don't understand the criticism. And he wrote #goalkeepers union. Any truth in that?
I know J-Mo, he was a teammate of mine. He's a great guy, and he's about 6'4", so I won't
You're not going to argue, yeah.
But he is most definitely in the goalkeepers union.
Sticking with one of his own. Okay, look, they're into the second half in the early match in the Championship as well. At Vicarage Road for Talksport is Dave Rowe.
It's got past the hour here. Watford 0, Millwall 1, and so far Millwall have done everything but score a second goal. They were deservedly in front at the break with Watford down to 10 men. Kamara sent off and Vogsheimer put Millwall in front. Well, Millwall have had their chances to extend that margin after the break. A corner by Saville was tipped over the bar by Bachmann. Jake Cooper with the next effort, headed wide, and then a good move teed up Mitchell to Saville 25 yards out. Again, a decent save by Daniel Bachmann. Watford have got nothing together at all. They're playing effectively 3-4. 4-2. They brought on Trust Kong to shorten about. They just brought on Mario Gaspar as well. But really, we've been playing, 61 minutes here. They're down to 10 men, and Watford have done nothing so far to threaten the Millwall back line at this stage. It's still Watford 0, Millwall 1.
Thank you very much, Dave Rowe. Over on Talksport 2 right now, it is Sunderland 1, Blackburn 1 at half-time. Black Cats forward Ross Stewart scored at both ends. You can join Mike McCarthy and Neil Redford for second half commentary in about 10 minutes. Also here at the GTEC Stadium, it's currently Brentford 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Big second half coming up after this.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with a Now Sports membership. Stream the Premier League live without a contract from $11.99. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
What does Asahi Super Dry taste like? Crisp, refreshing and always super dry. A taste as unexpected and surprising as modern Japan. That's right, Japan's #1 beer. Asahi Super Dry, beyond expected. Go to asahisuperDry.com to verify. Enjoy responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk to find out more.
For Betfair, betting is supposed to be fun. A way to play where you're in control. And to help you make the right choice and stay in control, Betfair has created some online tools. They're practical, so you can set yourself a deposit limit or a loss limit. Get reminders after a certain amount of time playing with Gaming Time Check. And take breaks with a timeout, so your betting stays fun. To try them out, go to safergambling.betfair.com.
18 plus BeGambleAware.org.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
At Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got real deals on a wide range of trade quality building products. In December, we've got a 2.44 by 1.2 metre sheet of 100mm Enotherm PIR insulation for only £37.99 ex-VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com.
We've got it at Selco. Selco, it's where the trade goes.
That charged at 20%.
Ho ho, hold your horses. Reindeers, glitter baubles. Have Just Eat got some winner Christmas dinner lunches. Breakfast for you. With the McDonald's Big Tasty with Bacon. Domino's Ultimate Spicy Sausage Pizza. Costa Coffee Gingerbread Latte. Pizza Express Snowball Dough Balls. Plus more from Greg's, Queen's Cafe, Starbucks and Five Guys. So fill your buckled elf boots, stocking, sleigh today. Christmas, we got it.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Product subject to availability in restaurant and serving times. Participating stores only. See justeat.co.uk for details.
The new season is here, and The Times on Saturday has all the big interviews, insightful analysis and stats you need to set you up for a perfect weekend of Premier League action. Subscribe today at thetimes.co.uk/football for provocative and compelling opinions from the best sports writers in the business, including James Gibbrandt, Owen Slott and the voice of football, Henry Winter. Lovely bit of football! Try it free for 1 month at thetimes.co.uk/football. Auto renews at £26 a month unless cancelled. T's and C's apply.
You what? You what? You what? You what? You what? You're not watching the big footy games in a pub and grill fan zone at Village Hotels? Who are ya? Premier League and big games on giant screens, stadium seats, great lineup of beers, and dirty burgers and bar snacks to tackle. Plus, win big game tickets, beer for a year, and other great prizes. Visit villagehotels.com/Talksport. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. Always drink responsibly. Who are ya?
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Get your finance sorted first, then choose your car. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
Step up to the hockey for exclusive coverage of the 2023 PDC World Darts Championship live.
Continues tomorrow afternoon from 12:30.
Over on Talksport 2.
The first dart's high. The second dart is in.
Talksport 2, it's the bullseye with live and exclusive commentary direct from Alexandra Palace as the giants of World Darts clash in pursuit of the Sid Waddell Trophy.
2 darts for tops.
He's got it! The 2023 PDC World Darts Championship live
continues tomorrow afternoon from 12:30.
Over on Talksport 2. Game on!
You are listening to Game Day exclusive with me, Reshmin Chowdhury, as the Premier League returns after the first ever Winter World Cup. It's so good to be back, everybody, isn't it just? Here on Talksport, we've got live Premier League commentaries for you. All 10 Premier League fixtures across the festive period are live for you across the Talksport network. Over on Talksport 2 right now, it's Sunderland 1, Blackburn 1 in the Championship. Everton against Wolves follows that match on Talksport 2. And don't forget, we do have every single Premier League match today, tomorrow and Wednesday for every single one of you. What a festive menu that is. Here at the G-Tech, it is Brentford 1, Spurs 0. No change there then for Tottenham Hotspur trailing at half-time. Let's get the latest from Betfair then, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage.
Game day on TalkSport with Betfair. Get a Betfair's popular bet builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip. Terms and conditions apply. See support.betfair.com. 18+ for gambleaware.org.
Hello there, Sam Rossbottom from Betfair. Look, they've trailed at half-time in 6 of their past 7 matches in all competitions. They've now stretched that to 7 in their last 8 as well. Tottenham Hotspur, they don't do first halves well, do they?
Yeah, here we go again. Like you said earlier, it is Groundhog Day for Spurs, isn't it? Finding themselves 1-0 down at half-time. Brentford now as short as 4-6 to go on and claim all 3 points in this one. They were 12-5 before kick-off. Spurs were the favourites with the punters. However, they're now out to 5-1 to win the match. The draw is 23-10. If they are to get back into this, then they do need their big game players, don't they, Spurs? Harry Kane, Scott Minto's been on Harry Kane watch. He's had a couple of half chances, hasn't he? Nothing really too testing for the Brentford goalkeeper. However, over on the sportsbook, we have odds boosted him to score next in the match. That's now 5-1. And we do need him to score for our charity bet, Rashmin, because we've got a charity bet builder, haven't we? We've gone for Harry Kane to score, both teams to score in the match, and Spurs to win. So, if Spurs do turn this one around and Harry Kane is instrumental in that and he gets on the score sheet, we will return £256 to the Bobby Moore Fund with our £50 charity bet. We backed that at just over 4-1 before kick-off. So, fingers crossed that Harry Kane pulls up his socks for the second half and gets out there and does the business for us.
Fingers crossed indeed, and not just for the bet builder, but for me as well as a Spurs fan. I mean, I'm coming back to the football. I want my team to win. Come on, you Spurs. I won't say that too loud around the G-Tech arena. Thank you very much, Sam Rossbottom. As ever, speak to you later. That odds update is all thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to begambleaware.org.
Game day on TalkSport with Betfair. Get a hand from Betfair's popular bet builder and easily add our fan favourite football selections to your bet slip. Terms and conditions apply. See support.betfair.com. 18+ for gambleaware.org.
Okay, 7 Premier League fixtures coming up for you on this Boxing Day, including Leicester against Newcastle. That one kicks off at the King Power at 3 o'clock. Ian Danter is our TalkSport commentator for that one. Ian, how are you?
Very good, thanks, Reshmin. Happy Christmas and all that.
Merry Christmas, festive greetings and all the rest to you as well, Ian. It's this one should be a really interesting one, actually, because, look, Newcastle finished that first half of the season in 3rd place. I don't know how many people would have guessed that one. And we had Dan Burn on White and Jordan earlier this week, and he told Jim that the break kind of came at the wrong time because of, you know, the fact that Newcastle had so much momentum and they were flying at that time.
Sure.
I mean, how big a statement would it be if they went on to win here today? And how likely is that? Because, as you say, you know, mentally, to have to put the brakes on when you're just getting into your groove.
Well, you could argue,
difficult one.
You could argue just the same for Leicester City, really. Or after that woeful start to the season when they lost 7 of their first 8, they got 13 points from the last 18 available before everything shut down for a month. So plenty of encouragement for the Foxes after what was a poor start to the season. The heat's off Brendan Rodgers now. But Newcastle, yes, just one defeat all season in the Premier League, and that was that last gasp at Liverpool. They do enjoy going away from home. They've got one of the best away records in the division. I think it's the 3rd best. And they've got players revitalised all over the pitch. We've seen Joe Linton's improvement. We've seen Almiron's improvement. We've seen what Botman has brought to the back four. They haven't lost when Botman's played. So there's an awful lot to recommend about Newcastle right now. So they're a test for anybody. But at least Leicester can now go into this, you know, thinking, well, maybe we can take advantage of having had the break if Newcastle can't. It's interesting to see who goes at who first in this one.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tight one to call. How do you see it playing out? What kind of a game are you expecting?
Well, I'm not sure whether James Maddison is going to be fit to play. He was sort of had his injury worries out with England, didn't he, at the World Cup? And I'm not sure whether, having come back, he's got himself quite back to full fitness. We'll find out when the teams come out in half an hour's time. But without Maddison, then you are relying on a player like Harvey Barnes, who has been spectacular for Leicester in recent times. It's 4 in his last 5 goals-wise before the Premier League took a break. So I think he's key for Leicester City in Maddison's absence. And then for Newcastle, it is about those players like Guimaraes, who's been excellent. Why didn't he get more pitch time for Brazil? I don't know, because I thought he was sensational. And then, of course, Joe Linton, Almiron and Callum Wilson. There's plenty of potential match winners on the pitch today, Resh.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to be such a good game, isn't it? Dan, great to talk to you, as always. Dan's will be commentating. I should say Ian Danter, shouldn't I? Say your proper name. He'll be commentating on Leicester against Newcastle, as well as taking you around the grounds in the other Premier League fixtures and the EFL as well. Here, though, at the GTEC Community Stadium, the teams are out. Tottenham came out first. They're the ones with a bigger task, aren't they, with this second half coming up. Of course, trailing at the break. It is currently Brentford 1, Tottenham 0. Brentford coming out to the white stripes. Tell you what, the music here has been absolutely great. The music sounds better with you, though, guys. Scott Minter, but first, Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Resh. And the team in the red and white stripes leading by 1-0 at half-time, Brentford. And they will get the second half underway, playing from left to right as we look out from the main stand here at the GTEC Community Stadium. And an early long ball played forward, looking for Ivan Toney in the air, and Tottenham don't clear, wearing their all turquoise away kit, and eventually it is flicked over the top and behind by Jan Elton. It will be a goal kick for Tottenham. A reminder of the two teams again: Brentford, David Raya in goal, Jorgensen, Pinnock and Mee the back three, Rudislev and Henry the wing backs. Norgard, Jan Elton, Jensen have been excellent in midfield, with Mbeumo and Toney a real threat in attack, as Toney chases another long ball forward, beaten to it in the air by Dyer. And here is Højbjerg for Tottenham. The Tottenham team, Forster in goal, Dyer, Lenglet and Tanganga their back three, Doherty and Perisic the wing backs, Højbjerg and Bissouma at the heart of midfield, with Kulusevski and Son supporting Kane. And maybe the lack of bodies in midfield has been an issue here for Tottenham, Scott Minto, because they're outnumbered, and that's really shown.
It has, yes. You know, just looking at the front three, and again on paper looks great, doesn't it? Kulusevski, Kane and Son. I haven't really seen Son and Harry Kane either in that first half, so those two need to get more involved. And Antonio Conte, yeah, he's got to tell his midfielders, and yes, okay, maybe it's a 3v2 at times, but you know, that means get the ball out wide. The wing back should have a bit more space. And, you know, with only two up front, they should be able to deal with, you know, Ivan Toney and Mbeumo as well. But at the moment, they're not able to deal with Ivan Toney at all. He's been the standout player on the pitch for me. So Spurs have to find a way.
Spurs unbeaten in their previous 15 Boxing Day games since Patrick Berger was the Portsmouth match winner at Fratton Park back in 2003. And they've only won 1 of their last 15 away games in London derbies, so maybe we shouldn't be too surprised they are a goal down here. 2 minutes into the second half, Perisic with short sleeves and gloves, with a throw-in down the line for Tottenham. Brentford will clear, but it's another throw-in taken quickly by Perisic. Norgard's touch only falls to Son, quickly into the feet of Kulusevski on the edge of the area, but it's all the way back to David Raya. And Tottenham here playing with the look of a side who've been given a bit of a telling off at half-time.
Yeah, you just feel there was a sense of a half a chance there if Son was able to play in Kulusevski, and we've seen it lots of times, and we've mentioned it already today, haven't we, about how in the first part of the season Spurs were poor in the first half and somehow stepped it up in the second. Well, it looks like they are already having playing with a bit more intensity now. The question is, can they break this Brentford defence down? Because they don't just defend with their back three, they defend with the whole team. It's a very difficult team to try and, once you concede that first goal, to go on and beat.
Now Bissouma on the far side under pressure. He goes all the way back to the edge of his penalty area, and Lenglet. Perisic down the Tottenham left, just in front of us. It's flicked on by Kane, and In the end, Mee will find Jorgensen, and it's all the way back to David Raya. His long clearance downfield, taken down by Tony. Under pressure, though, from Japhet Tanganga, who is in the side ahead of Davinson Sanchez, a more regular central defender. And it did seem that Brentford were targeting him at times in the first half, as Kane now has given room to turn and find Son. And there is an opportunity here for Tottenham to break. Son right down the centre. He's got Perisic in space down the left. Early cross into the penalty area, looking for the player coming in at the far post, Doherty, and it's scrambled behind in the end by Mee for a corner kick.
Yeah, much better from Spurs in this second half, and they found a space to go on the counter-attack. There was a Perisic down the left. He put the ball in. Great defending from Ben Mee. I have to say, been really impressed with him, not just today, the whole season, but right place, right time. Spurs have stepped it up.
Spurs have scored 10 times from corners in the Premier League this season. Son Heung-min will take this one. In towards the near post, headed away conclusively by Pinnock, but Brentford again comfortably win it back on this near side, have a throw-in in the end. Norgard, though, is unable to pick out Mbeumo. Here is Koibet. And now Langley, and Tottenham here showing more energy at the start of the second half. 5 minutes played, but they still trail by a goal to nil on Talksport. And we will have all the team news from the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League in around 20 minutes time, as we heard during half-time with Rashford. Everton against Wolves is on Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock. Leicester against Newcastle is our commentary here. Every single Premier League commentary from the Boxing Day round, live and exclusive to the Talksport network. Now Perisic down the left with a high cross into the penalty area. Kane going down in the act of trying to deliver the ball in. He was tangling with May, and in the end, Spurs are appealing for a penalty kick. David Coote has halted play. Players from both sides are now milling around the referee, and are Stockley Park taking a second look at this?
I think they are. First of all, you have to say it was a wonderful ball in from Perisic. And Ben Mee, so normally you would say pre-VAR, do you know what, that's two people just grappling for it. Ben Mee's not even looking at the ball. His
body continues.
Well, that's interesting, because I'd love to have another look at that, because Ben Mee, he's got hold of Harry Kane. You can say they've got hold of each other, but he's got his body shape in a way that he's not even looking at the ball. He's only looking at Harry Kane. That, for me, opens the door to a possible penalty.
I think, had this been the World Cup, that would have been a clear fire penalty.
I think they would have taken a little bit longer over it. Would have been able to see more than one replay. And yeah, as I say, it's one thing to have each other's shirt. Just because the defender's got hold of a attacker's shirt, well, it can be the other way around as well, and it works both ways. But the fact that Ben Mee wasn't even looking from the angle where the ball was coming from, it was all about Harry Kane. Well, you have to be able to see ball and man, and he didn't do that. Harry Kane's still not happy, having a word with David Coote, the referee there, saying, how was that not a penalty? And that would have been interesting, wouldn't it? A Spurs penalty.
Absolutely. Well, Brentford are already considering a change here early in the second half. Thomas Frank is deep in conversation with one of his potential replacements, and maybe they've seen something here in Tottenham's performance which they need to try and rectify. And we're watching replays again on the monitor here, and well, it's a decision which I'm sure Tottenham will look back on if they don't win this game.
It's too busy looking at the game itself rather than the monitor there, Nigel, actually, to see another replay. But yeah, very interesting moment in the match. But again, it just shows how well Spurs have come out in the second half.
Goodness me, well, it was headed forward there by Rudislav, and Eric Dyer came across, and there was a complete shank behind for a corner kick. And that's a horrible moment for a professional footballer.
We've all been there.
Well, I haven't. Anyone who saw me play five-a-side in the World Cup will know that. Declan McCarthy, our producer, very sensibly is keeping quiet.
I see him nodding, though.
Yes, plenty of it. Corner kick on this near side, which Mbeumo will take. 53 minutes played, 1-0 to Brentford here. Mbeumo's in swinger, flicked on by Norgard, it's 2-0! Another set-piece goal for Brentford, and it was finished superbly at the near post, and Mbeumo with a great delivery into the penalty area, and Tottenham again unable to deal with it. And when it dropped inside the 6-yard area, nobody in turquoise reacted, and Tottenham again find themselves 2 goals down away from home. It's a terrible moment for them and Antonio Conte, and it's been a Boxing Day to remember so far for Brentford. They lead by 2-0.
Yeah, and it's all come from that shank from Eric Dyer, and he would have been thinking, please don't score from there. It's a wonderful ball in, but it's all about the flick on. The flick on means that suddenly you're reacting, and actually it's Ivan Toney. Again, who else? Right place, right time, reading the flick on. And I'll tell you what, Fraser Forster's got no chance there whatsoever. He can't come out and claim the cross, and once that flick on with the pace and the power has come through to Ivan Toney, he's 2 yards out, he's not going to miss them there, and that's a big goal, Nigel, because Spurs were on top in the second half.
Ivan Toney back amongst the goals straight away following the World Cup, and now Tottenham coming back from 2 goals down. They won their last away game from 2 goals down at Bournemouth in the Premier League. We'll be off to Vicarage Road in a moment, but Tottenham looking to find a way back into this game. It's played wide to the far side in Kulusevski, and now coming in field is Doherty, and it's a free kick for Spurs. Before we see this, let's briefly go back to Vicarage Road and Dave Rowe.
Watford 0, Millwall 2. Points are safe here with 8 to go. Zian Fleming, a wonderful free kick wide on the left-hand side, sent in with plenty of pace and power. Didn't get any connection in the area, but it went past Backman, and Millwall will have 3 points fully deserved. Watford 0, Millwall 2.
Thanks, Dave. Still Sunderland 1, Blackburn 1 over on Talksport 2. Free kick here for Son, high into the penalty area, aim for Harry Kane. Cleared away to this near side, and the flag goes up for offside. And Ivan Toney scores so many different types of goals, and that was another one there to put Brentford 2 goals up.
Yeah, do you know what? He's just getting better and better and better, and we're asking questions about how will the World Cup break affected certain players. Well, again, I'm sure Ivan Toney, after what he did at the Etihad, would have been thinking, I cannot wait for the next game. It's not just his goal, Nigel, it's the way he plays. As I say, he's not just really good in the air, he's not just a good finisher, he's not just a good penalty taker. He is football intelligent, and he knows when to drop off, when to go in behind, when to get the flick on, when to draw the foul. I'll be very surprised if he's not in England's next squad.
11 Premier League goals so far this season for him. He scored 12 in the entirety of the previous campaign, and now Toney turning away from the challenge on the far side, cuts in field towards the edge of the penalty area, plays it square to Mbeumo, and Mbeumo is denied by a desperate challenge from Lenglet. But Brentford coming forward again now with Ruleslav down the right hand side, back towards Norgard. Norgard's cross in, and it was a flailing volley at the far post this time from Toney, but he fails to make contact, and it's a throw in to Spurs on the far side. But it's all Brentford here, leading by 2-0.
Yeah, and it's all Toney. They can't handle it at the moment, this back three of Spurs. Again, he just got past and out-muscled one of the Spurs defenders. He actually could have had a shot himself, very unselfish, played it to Mbeumo, who should have played it back to him and didn't. Again, you know, you're talking about this player that is an out-and-out striker, but he's not just an out-and-out striker, he's a real good team player. Spurs struggling to deal with him.
Now Mbeumo on the far side. Lenglet has gone down after an aerial duel with Toney, but play continues. The ball has swirled high into the penalty area. Forster was nowhere near that, and in the end he gets the benefit of a free kick after tangling with Toney, and it will be a moment of respite here for Tottenham, trailing by 2-0. Ivan Toney's 50th Premier League appearance here today, and that's his 23rd goal, which is a really good strike rate.
I don't think there's much in that at all. I mean, Ivan Toney's not really looking at the ball, but Fraser Forster's a million miles away from the ball.
Well, Tottenham came into this game with inconsistent form at the end of the previous matches before the World Cup. 3 defeats in 5, but they do have a free kick here, and Matthias Jensen has been shown the first yellow card of the day for a challenge on Son Heung-min. But Spurs need a route back into this game very quickly, and they can't keep coming from behind to win games, because sooner or later it won't happen for you and you will begin to lose touch. Perisic with the free kick here. 58 minutes played on Talksport. Brentford leading by 2-0 and very good value for it. Perisic high to the far post, cleared away by Me, and of course that second goal coming only a couple of minutes after Spurs believe they should have had a penalty at the other end. There will be a free kick for Brentford here on the halfway line now, because Yves Bissouma got on the wrong side of Ivan Toney, hauled him down, and he receives a yellow card as well.
Oh, he's just so strong, isn't he? He really is. Bissouma's all over him, but he's still making sure he gets there first. And, you know, when you get attackers who are that good, defenders can't just concentrate on the ball. They're concentrating too much on the attacker. And in the end, he was nowhere near the ball. He rolled him. Definite foul. And, yeah, just at the moment, Ivan Toney, it's all about him. And Brentford 2-0 up, in complete control. Just interested to see whether Antonio Conte can make any substitution, or will make any substitutions. At the moment, doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Doesn't have a huge amount on the bench in terms of top class attacking talent. Free kick high into the penalty area from Raya, claimed by Forster. Currently Brentford 2, Tottenham 0. Here are the latest odds from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Brentford to win at 10-1 on, Spurs to win at 30-1, or back the draw at 15-2. All thanks to Betfair. 18+, begambleaware.org. An hour played here on Talksport. Brentford 2, Tottenham 0. On a day of 10 commentaries across the Talksport network. Coming up at 3 o'clock, Leicester against Newcastle, Everton Wolves on Talksport 2. On the Talksport app, Palace against Fulham, Saints against Brighton. Download the app, go to the live commentary section, and you can swipe between the games of your choice. As the ball drops loose for Kulusevski, 25 yards out for Tottenham, but he's quickly crowded out, and now Henry plays it down the line for Mbeumo. In the remaining sunshine here in West London, on the far side, now Norgard. And Brentford here looking to cement their place in the top half of the table, and Spurs will become vulnerable to those behind them inside the top four here. Bissouma wide to this near side, and Koibert. Now Langley, but three Brentford players very quickly converge on him. Janelt claims he won the ball back, but David Coote disagrees, and it's a free kick to Tottenham. But they need a break here. They need something to happen for them.
They do, and where Brentford are so impressive is again, I said about it earlier, without the ball. They're not giving Spurs any time at all to take a touch, to look up, and to get a sort of pattern of play going. And look, the start of the second half, Spurs responded well, and you would have thought if there was going to be a goal, it would come from them. But 2-0 has just kind of made this so difficult to come back from. And it's lifted not just the Brentford players, but the Brentford crowd as well.
Now Kulusevski. And again, Janelt was all over him, but it breaks to Perisic. His cross-in was deflected off Norgard. Kulusevski tries to win it back, but Mbeumo shields it well. And now the pace and effervescence of Henry on the left-hand side. He looks to go beyond Tanganga, who did just enough in the end, and it will be a throw-in to Tottenham, midway inside their own half. 2-0 down here. And I'm reminded by Declan McCarthy, our producer, Scott, that the new chief refereeing officer Howard Webb did say last week that VAR would only really get involved for clear and obvious errors. So was that a clear and obvious error not to give a penalty to Tottenham?
Do you know what, Nigel? I don't understand the clear and obvious error anymore. We had that at the beginning, and then they got involved, and now they don't. And Howard Webb is saying that, look, is it a penalty or isn't it a penalty? And I have to say that the replay I've seen, Ben Mee's not looking at Harry Kane. I think it's a big moment because, as you rightly said, a couple of minutes later, Brentford go down the other end and make it 2-0. Big couple of minutes.
Now Toney is shown a yellow card for leaving something on Langley in the Tottenham left-back area on this near side. And you could also say as well that an error's an error.
Absolutely. I mean, what I'm a great believer of, bringing in VAR, and I thought it would take 3 years. I revised that to maybe 5 now. But bring it in, but let the referee take control of it. And if he thinks it wasn't a penalty and doesn't want to look at it again, then that's fine. We accept that. You know, it's when VAR gets too much involved, that's the problem. And I think people just have to realise there is no perfect solution in this. You're always going to find a problem. But just accept that the referee, he's the man on the day. His decision was it wasn't a penalty, and let's stick with that now.
The young Senegalese international Pape Sarr will be coming on soon for Tottenham, and this will be a Premier League debut for him. And there is significant movement on the Tottenham bench. There could be a triple change here, judging by the numbers of players who are getting ready. Saman Ghoddos, the Iranian international, also getting ready as the header from Harry Kane finds the back of the net, and Tottenham are back in the game. And 16 days on from his penalty pain in Al Bayt, Harry Kane comes back to the Premier League with a goal. No real celebration from him, but it was a towering far post header. And Tottenham, the comeback kings, may be at it again. Brentford 2, Tottenham 1.
Surely not. Surely not. They can come back and win this game. But what I would say is, first of all, what a cross from Longley. Great left-footed cross. And what a leap from Harry Kane. We've hardly seen him in the game so far, but this is what he's capable of. Rising above Ben Mee, who's very good in the air. But I'm telling you now, looking at the replays, there was only ever one winner in that one. And that is a really good header, heading it back from where it came from, giving Raya no chance whatsoever.
Now Janelt finding Tony on the edge of the penalty area. His shot was blocked though. And suddenly Tottenham have a lifeline in this game, thanks to Harry Kane. And as you said, Scott Minto, right at the start of the programme, that's why he had to play.
Oh, absolutely. You know, he wants to be playing all the time, whether he's in good form or not. Never have a problem with him mentally about what happened with the World Cup, whereas it might have affected other players. But not really seen enough of him in the game. But this is what he's capable of and why you never really take him off.
2-1 to Brentford. 25 minutes to play here on Talksport. And I think the triple change for Tottenham may have been slightly revised. Davinson Sanchez is coming on though. Here is Ruddersleb. Fires across high into the penalty area. Headed away by Doherty. The loose ball won by Janelt on the edge of the box. Now Mbeumo twisting and turning, but it's now Jensen. Wide to Rico Henry again. A low cross in from him. And the volley from Mbeumo is over the top. He was leaning back as he hit it. But it was an opportunity for Brentford to restore their 2-goal lead.
That's a wonderful chance. He's on his left foot, he's in front of goal, the ball comes in, he's what, 12, 13 yards away? Okay, it's come at him with pace, but when you're 2-1 and they've just come back into the game, Spurs, and we know what they're like in the second half, you need that extra cushion if you can. At least hit the target and see if the keeper can save it. So that's poor from Mbeumo.
Sanchez coming on for Tanganga for Spurs. Brentford are still waiting for Ghoddos, and he will now replace Matthias Jensen. Ghoddos only came on in the Iranian defeat against USA in the World Cup, but he's back into the action here in the Premier League. And both teams just looking to freshen things up at the midpoint of the second half here, with Brentford leading Tottenham by 2-1. Harry Kane giving Tottenham some hope in this match after goals from Vitaly Janelt and Ivan Toney for the Bees. Now Højbjerg quickly plays it forward, looking for Kane again, but Pinnock steps in to play it back towards Raya, who clears downfield again. Dyer with a good leap above Mbeumo, and now Son 25 yards out for Tottenham, bearing down on the Brentford goal, but in the end Norgard did just enough to put him off. But the clearance from Mee only finds Perisic on the left. A high cross into the penalty area. Doherty nods it down. It almost falls for Kulusevski at the far post, but Rico Henry will allow the ball to bobble behind. And now Brentford do have a look of a team just beginning to hang on here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Nige, there is time. We're only halfway through the second half, and it's 2-1 now. The momentum is with Spurs. Just interesting to see how Brentford deal with this. You know, if they just knock it long and just start to panic already, they're going to put themselves under a lot of pressure. They need to keep on playing how they were playing in the first half, really, and just after they scored the second goal. But Spurs We know they can come on strong. They've proved it, and I'm sure they'll do that in the next 20-25 minutes.
All of the big teams and the big names across the Talksport network over the next few days. Coming up at 3 o'clock, Leicester against Newcastle. 5:30, Aston Villa against Liverpool. 8 o'clock, the leaders Arsenal against West Ham. Tomorrow night, 5:30, Chelsea Bournemouth. 8 o'clock, Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. And then on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock start for Leeds against Manchester City. All those games live and exclusive to national radio on Talksport. And we have 10 commentaries today, and we will continue at 3 o'clock with commentaries on Talksport 1, Talksport 2 and the app as Brentford eyes midway inside the Tottenham half for a foul on Davinson Sanchez. So we go for full time in the Championship at Vicarage Road. Talksport's Dave Rowe.
Watford 0, Millwall 2. Brilliant performance here by Millwall. Andreas Voxlammer with the opener teed up by Bradshaw. The first half also saw Watford lose João Pedro injured and Hassan Kamara sent off for a clash with McNamara. After the break, Vogelsammer hit the bar. Watford did little apart from Davies firing over, and Zian Fleming made the point safe with a free kick with 8 minutes to go. Millwall up into the top 6. Watford 0, Millwall 2.
Still Sunderland 1, Blackburn 1. Over on Talksport 2, also in the Championship, will be off for team news at Leicester Newcastle shortly. But Son with the cross into the area, headed away at the near post by Pinnock, and now Norgard with a long ball forward, and it's beyond both Mbuemo and Tony. Gathered by Forster, who is some way outside his penalty area, and he's found Lenglet on this near side. And now Koibert, the Spurs chase another equalising goal here. And they've had a number of those recently. Kulusevski brings Doherty into the game down the right. The cross into the penalty area, taken down by Koibert. And now Kane scoops it forward, looking for the run from Doherty around the back. And Dyer will have to go all the way back to Sanchez on the halfway line. But Tottenham keeping up the pressure here. Kulusevski has Doherty in support. But instead, he finds Basuma. The home crowd looking to rise their team. Koibert exchanges passes with Kane. And now Kulusevski infield onto the left foot and outside onto the right. Doherty finding Kulusevski again. He can fire in the cross. It comes to Koibert! And Tottenham have equalised. And they've come from 2 goals down. And yet again, Antonio Conte's team never know they are beaten. Brentford unable to keep them out, and just when it seemed that Tottenham were beaten on this Boxing Day, they have come from 2 goals down, and it's something they always seem to do. Brentford 2, Tottenham 2.
Well, the World Cup has come and gone, but it's the same old Spurs, isn't it? Poor in the first half, somehow get themselves back into a game, and they will believe they can go on and win this. Really good play down the right-hand side between Kulusevski and also Doherty. And I was just thinking about just the way that Holberg has stepped it up, the intensity in the central midfield. He started to control the game. So he didn't even need to score this goal to say he's having a good game. But I tell you what, that's a really good first touch. And that's a Harry Kane-like finish. He passes the ball into the side netting, giving David Raya no chance whatsoever. What a game we've got here. Don't you just love the Premier League?
Absolutely. 2-2 coming up in the Premier League at 3 o'clock. We're live at the King Power Stadium for Leicester against Newcastle. Team news from Ian Danter.
Well, both sides won in the week in the EFL Cup. Leicester make 2 changes from their 3-0 win at Milton Keynes. Patson Daka preferred to Vardy. Dewsbury Hall preferred to Perez, otherwise unchanged. The big news for Newcastle is that there's no Callum Wilson from the side that beat his old side Bournemouth in the EFL Cup, not even on the bench. His place goes to former Fox Chris Wood. Leicester Newcastle live at 3 on Talksport.
And over on Talksport 2 will be at Goodison Park. Team news from there with Mark Wilson.
Yeah, 2 changes for Everton. Wolves loanee Conor Cody is unavailable. Yerry Mina comes in for him, and Anthony Gordon replaces Damari Gray, drops to the bench. For Wolves, Julian Lopetegui names 10 of the 11 that beat Gillingham in midweek. Juan comes in for Guedes. Full commentary live and exclusive on Talksport 2 from Goodison. Dean Swordner's alongside as it's Everton against Wolves.
Thank you, Mark. And Scott Minto. If there is to be a winning goal in this game now with 17 minutes to play, you would think it will come from Tottenham.
Nigel, I've learnt now not to predict. I just don't know what's going to happen here, but yeah, absolutely Spurs are in the ascendancy. To come back from 2-0 down, and at 2-1 I said, look, they're halfway through the second half and they can definitely go on and win this game. They have to have the belief. 2-2 makes it a big difference though now. Brentford very much under pressure. Can they go again? But Spurs will feel they can come away and get all 3 points.
Now Doherty. 2-2 here. Brentford 2 goals up early in the second half. Kane lays it wide to the far side, slid in towards Doherty now, inside the penalty area again. He goes down under the challenge of Jorgensen. Again appeals for a penalty. David Coote gives nothing now. He has halted play once again. He will have words with Doherty and Jorgensen. And you just wonder if VAR may get involved here.
Well, we're just having a look at that. My initial first thoughts were there was contact. Is it enough to go down? But he definitely flicks the leg out, Jorgensen, and he definitely makes contact with Doherty. Now, is it enough to say that he's gone down in the way that he's gone down? Again, if you're talking about clear and obvious error, I don't think there's a clear and obvious error. But on many other occasions, people would look at that and say, is that a penalty or not a penalty? And they would say it was.
Well, David Coote has now said that play will continue with a drop ball, so another penalty came for Spurs, comes to nothing. Let's get team news from a game which will be live on the Talksport app. Southampton against Brighton. There for us is Ian Abraham.
Saints beat Lincoln here in midweek 2-1 in the League Cup. 3 changes for Nathan Jones for his first league game in charge. Out go Bella Kocha and also Maitland-Niles and Adam Armstrong. Change of formation to 4 at the back. In come Diallo, Dnepro and Edozie. As for Brighton, they went out to Charlton in the League Cup. Out go Undav and Ciso, Gilmore, Lamptey and goalkeeper Steele. In come Sanchez, Estepinian, Veltman, Trossard and Mitoma. And as you say, it's live on the Talksport app.
Thanks, Ian. Now, penalty appeals at the other end as Mbuemo went down under the challenge of Forster, and Mbuemo has been booked for diving.
Wow, I tell you what a game we've got here. He gets in front of Fraser Forster, there's no doubt about it, but there's no penalty there. I don't even think he makes any contact at all, and because he hasn't made the contact, his leg's almost searching for Forster. It's a really good decision from the referee, David Coote, one that would have been, if it had been given as a penalty, would have been overturned by VAR. You can see that on the replay, but first time round, David Coote got that absolutely spot on. It's a dive, and it's a yellow card.
15 minutes to play here on Talksport. Brentford 2, Tottenham 2. What a return for the Premier League following the World Cup here on Talksport. Brentford 2 goals up, but Tottenham have come roaring back once again. Let's get team news from another game available on the Talksport app today at Selhurst Park. Jake Robson.
One change by Patrick Vieira from the Crystal Palace side that lost at Forest before the World Cup. Tompkins starts in place of the suspended Gehi. The big news for Fulham that Mitrovic starts after passing a late fitness test. Tete and Reed also come in for Wilson, Kearney and Vinicius, who are all on the bench.
Thanks, Jake. In the Championship later on, we have Cardiff against Queen's Park Rangers at 5:15. Luton against Norwich will be at 7:45 here on Talksport. Villa Liverpool 5:30. Arsenal West Ham at 8 o'clock. But Tottenham here, roaring forward again with Son on this near side. Wide to Perisic. Rudislav has been beaten by Perisic. High cross towards the far post again. Doherty nods it back for Kane on the volley. Didn't really get hold of it. Perisic appeals for handball, and in the end, the flag has been raised on the offside, on the far side for offside.
Wow, look at Perisic as well, the way he's appealing to David Coote that there was a handball there. He does really well down the left-hand side. Somehow gets the cross into the far post. Matt Doherty is there as well, so he's gone from left wing back to right wing back.
Well, was Perisic on the pitch when the alleged handball took place? Because whatever happens, a goal kick's been given.
I think we're going back to that clear and obvious error now, Nigel, aren't we? Quite clearly, Howard Webb doesn't want, and rightly so, VAR to be interfering all the time. Sometimes you've got to let the referee, we've been moaning for that over the last season or so. Let's let the referee make his decision. And that's what's happened there.
Well, it's been some second half here. And Tottenham again looking to pick up points from behind. And Brentford's record of winning every single Premier League game in which they've scored first is now in peril. And you're listening to Brentford 2, Tottenham 2 on Talksport with Now Sports. Don't forget that with Now, you can stream the Premier League live without a contract from $11.99. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via the internet, terms apply. Starting forward now is Eric Dyer. Wide towards Kulusevski, who comes back in field onto his left foot. Looks to slide in Kane, but it's cleared away on the edge of the penalty area by Pinnock. But Brentford, having led 2-0 in this game and been good value for that, maybe hanging on for a point with 12 minutes to play. Here is Dyer again with a right-footed cross into the penalty area. Perisic unmarked now at the far post, brings it down. High cross towards Doherty, who challenges, and in the end his glancing header is wide. And if Doherty got the final touch, that's a really good chance.
Well, again, both wing-backs are really getting forward. For the second time now in the space of a couple of minutes, we've seen it's a Perisic to Doherty. Doherty, again, that right wing-back position is really open. He'll want to make sure that he wants to be the Spurs right back for the next 5 or so years. I'll tell you what, the way he's playing at the moment, I would say I'd give it to him, but it's going to be interesting, and I'm not surprised to see Thomas Frank wanting to make more changes here, because his team now are suddenly very much on the back foot.
Johan Visser and Jay Da Silva will be coming on, and that goal for Harry Kane, incidentally, his 10th in 7 games on Boxing Day, and that is a Premier League record, overhauling the total secured by Robbie Fowler during his many years at this level on this day.
And I think he'd scored at 31 of 32 teams.
Brentford was the only team he hadn't scored against.
You just knew it, didn't you?
Full house.
You just knew it.
32 out of 32 for Harry Kane. As Basuma crunches into a challenge on Janelt, but comes away with the ball. And now Son. Son, though, is held up by Godos. Lenglet back towards Basuma once again. Slid wide towards Son. Everything coming for Spurs down this left-hand side. Perisic again. It's the option for Kane, but he comes in field, tries to find a reverse ball back to Kulusevski, but here is Højbjerg, and now Basuma, and Lenglet on the halfway line. Da Silva and Visser still waiting to come on here for Brentford, but Spurs are pouring forward with 9 minutes to play on Talksport, looking for the winning goal, having been 2 goals down in this game. As Mbeumo is closed down by Basuma, and the changes will now take place. Christian Norgard is the first player to make way for Jay Da Silva, the former Arsenal youngster who will enjoy coming on in a game like this. The armband has been passed on by Norgard. And the other player to come off is Bryan Mbeumo, who was excellent in the first half, but has maybe just faded away the longer the game has gone. So Johan Visser, who is used from the bench on a regular basis in the Premier League, makes another appearance of that nature here.
We had to do something, Thomas Frank, because at the moment, as you say, if there's going to be another goal, it's going to come from Spurs. So even if it's changing players like for like, just do something different to freshen it up a little bit.
But at the moment, Sanchez with an effort on the volley from 25 yards out for Tottenham, and I think that David Raya was very grateful it was straight at him, almost knocked him off his feet.
Do you know what, that would have summed this game up and Spurs this season as well, wouldn't it, if Davinson Sanchez had chested the ball and volleyed it in from 30 yards.
Well, here now at the other end is Henry. He claims he was being held there by Sanchez, but Brentford play on, a high cross in, and Perisic, real calmness to chest it back to his goalkeeper. And Ivan Perisic, at the age of 33, is showing no signs of slowing up. He really epitomises the Iron Man nature of the Croatian national side, and he's brought some of that steel here to Tottenham.
Brilliant. What a player. What a career he's had. Let's not forget, for club and country, and coming into the Premier League at his age, not always the easy thing to do. I think he hit the ground running for me personally. Excellent player, so versatile. And I'll tell you what, he's been brilliant today as well.
Now Lenglet for Tottenham. Brentford getting deeper and deeper in this game with 7 minutes to play. 2-2 the score on Talksport. This has been some return for the Premier League after the World Cup. Now Hotspur finding Lenglet again. A high cross into the penalty area. Sanchez comes, it's off the crossbar, and in the end, Doherty unable to bundle the ball, and it was Harry Kane who got there before the goalkeeper, and the header came back off the crossbar. Now at the other end, Brentford looking to come forward with De Silva, but Sanchez makes the challenge, and Harry Kane so close to what would have surely been the winning goal. But now Brentford coming forward again. De Silva goes down. Kulusevski comes away with the ball, no free kick given. Players from both sides then hit the turf. Now Doherty plays it forward, seeking out Kane. Jorgensen gets there first, and Ben Mee will try and bring some order to proceedings here for Brentford.
Well, again, it was almost a carbon copy of the earlier goal. Longley, fantastic cross in. He's got a wand of a left foot, hasn't he, when he gets forward. And Harry Kane's movement, so good, so unlucky hitting the crossbar. The winner's still there if either team wants it, but it does look more likely to come from Spurs.
5.5 minutes to play, 2-2 here. Now Mee for Brentford on the far side. In towards Visser from Henry, back to Henry again, and now Mee. And Visser with his back to goal. Finds the fullback, and a cross is driven high into the penalty area. It's nodded down by Ruleslav and poked over the top by Henry. It was a brave effort. He was clattered into by Forster as he made contact, and he couldn't keep the shot down.
It's amazing. It's just so end-to-end going on at the moment, isn't it? And Ivan Toney nearly gets in front of Forster. And to be fair to Forster, look, he's had a bit of criticism in this game, but he was brave there in the end.
And you're listening to Brentford against Tottenham on Talksport with Car Finance 24/7. Search Car Finance 24/7 today.
Just looking at the replay of Harry Kane getting in front of his defender with a great movement, and he's so unlucky, isn't he, hitting the crossbar.
No sign of a World Cup hangover from him. Now Dyer. Infield again to Basuma. And Kulusevski on the right. And he has had a fine game for Tottenham as well. There's been real balance for them with Perisic on the left and Kulusevski on the right, with Doherty also becoming involved. Now inside the penalty area, it is Perisic again, and here is Lenglet looking to deliver another cross in, but it's blocked at the near post by Ruleslav, and it will be a corner kick for Tottenham here. And they are not settling for a point, having been 2 goals down in this game. And Son Heung-min will take it. Real animation inside both technical areas here. Both coaches know how important the next few minutes could be. Son will take the corner kick. Kane makes the movement towards the near post, but it's headed away as far as Hotspur, who scored the equalising goal for Spurs. Hotspur checks onto his right foot, slides it wide to Kulusevski on the edge of the penalty area. He maybe thought about the shot, but here is Basuma. Now Hotspur again, right foot swinging from him is over the top, but it took a deflection on the way through. It will be another corner kick.
Well, he's playing so well at the moment, he feels like he can score from 30 yards, and again, good defending there from Brentford, getting tight, not allowing him even to get that shot in, but it's very much Spurs on the offence now, and really believing they can come away with 3 points. And when they went 2-0 down, I thought not even they could do that.
Well, they keep on doing it, and they have another corner kick on the far side. Perisic will take it. Swung in towards the 6-yard area, evading all the traffic at the near post, and claimed by David Raya. 3 minutes to play here on Talksport. Brentford 2, Tottenham 2. Coming up at 3 o'clock, Everton against Wolves on Talksport 2. Here on Talksport, Leicester against Newcastle. Jay De Silva with a high ball forward, but guided back again by Perisic, popping up on the right-hand side this time, just to ensure that Brentford were unable to create something else on the edge of the penalty area. But at the moment, Brentford have just been clinging on, but they almost win it back on the far side, but Godos was quickly closed down by Sanchez, and it will be a throw in to Tottenham again. Still 1-1 over on Talksport 2 currently between Sunderland and Blackburn. Ross Stewart scoring at both ends early on in that game. Millwall winning 2-0 at Watford in the 12 o'clock kickoff. Now Son for Tottenham, but he's lost out. Godos with the high ball forward. Tony looks to bring the ball down on the edge of the penalty area. Lenglet wins it back, but he's given it back to Tony, who then fouls Lenglet, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham with 90 seconds of normal time to play. And Antonio Conte is just telling his team to calm things down.
He's coaching everyone. He's telling them sometimes to step it up. Other times he's telling them to calm down. He's telling Son to come out on the left-hand side. You know, he is doing his proper coaching, and he believes, I'm sure he'll be very proud of the comeback and the character, but again, he'll also be very disappointed that his team had to come back from 2-0 down. This is a great second half performance from Spurs, though, and they can take a lot of positives from it, but they will be disappointed if they don't come away with all 3 points, considering they had to come back from 2-0 down again.
Now Sanchez, if it stays like this, they'll be 4 points clear of Manchester United, who are currently 5th, but they will have 2 games in hand. And of course, they are in action tomorrow night live on Talksport at home to Nottingham Forest at 8 o'clock. A Premier League doubleheader coming up tomorrow with Manchester City at Leeds on Wednesday, as the ball is gathered by David Raya on the edge of the Brentford 6-yard area. But the comeback for Tottenham sparked by Harry Kane here with what was a brilliant far post header. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg with the equalising goal after Jan Elton Tony have put Brentford 2 goals up here. Will there be a final twist in the tail from either side as we tick towards the end of 90 minutes? Fraser Forster just brings the ball inside his own penalty area to claim the ball for Tottenham, and there will be a minimum of 5 more minutes here.
There's time.
Time for either side. Dyer wide towards Højbjerg again. Tottenham came from 2 goals down to win their previous away game at Bournemouth, but Dyer with a dreadful ball into the penalty area, overhit and straight behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, that is poor, and Antonio Conte just turning around. He wasn't happy with that. When they have got into those positions, just not quite wide on the touchline, but just in a little bit more. Those crosses normally from Perisic have been so good, and Longley as well. Eric Dyer, we know he's a good passer with the ball, but that was a really poor cross there. And you're right, Brentford are kind of hanging on, and if Thomas Frank could stop the game now, he would. And that's strange to say after being 2-0 up and in complete control at that particular time.
Now Kane turning away from Jorgensen, forward to Kulusevski, who breaks into the penalty area, rides for challenge of me. He pulls it back, but it was behind Son, and it's cleared away by Godos, and Spurs there so close to the move which could have led to the winning goal.
That's why Harry Kane's so clever. He just dropped off and then played him in, Kulusevski, and I wondered whether when he rode that tackle, was he just inside or outside the box, and if he was inside, he could easily have gone down and it would have looked like there were contact.
Perisic with a long throw, headed into the penalty area and then cleared away by Pinnock, and the ball will spin out of play. Perisic shielding the ball away from Ruleslav. He will get another chance here to deliver one of those flat long throws we saw so much at the World Cup. Perisic with the delivery, volleyed clear on the edge of the 6-yard area, but here is Kulusevski on the far side. Kulusevski beyond Godos into the penalty area this time, has support from Doherty, laid back to Højbjerg, first time cross into the penalty area. Dyer shaping for the header, but it's nodded behind by Jorgensen, and it will be a corner kick for Spurs. And Tottenham are the dominant team here. Son will take the corner kick again. Brentford clinging on grimly here for a point. Son with the corner kick into the near post, headed away by Pinnock. Basuma on the edge of the penalty area, nods it down towards Son again, and Perisic will gratefully take a throw-in, but there is a Tottenham player down inside the penalty area, and there will be a break in play here. Clement Lenglet is the player down with a head injury.
Yeah, clash of heads when the corner came in. It's a very low driven corner, and he just went into the maybe he caught an elbow there from Ethan Pinnock. Definitely wasn't a foul from Pinnock. It can be very painful, that, and there's blood as well on the top of his forehead.
Late drama over on Talksport 2. Ellis Sims with what could be the winning goal for Sunderland. They lead against Blackburn by 2-1. Blackburn just don't do draws, do they? Lenglet is now receiving treatment on the pitch here, and Brentford want to get him off the field, and I think there may have to be a change here very late in the game. Ben Davies is having to take off about 4 layers here to get onto the field of play.
I think it might be a question of, like, stitches are needed, and they haven't got time to put stitches in. While he's got the blood, there's no way that the game can be carried on. So
Ben Davies has taken off the 4 layers. Now he's got the tracksuit bottoms to take off, and Lenglet will come off. So Tottenham at the moment have 10 players. Gavin Ward, the 4th official, is just sorting out the change, which will now take place. Lenglet thinks he'll come back on, but I think now he's been told he'll be going off. And Ben Davies, who wasn't due to play in this game, suffered an abdominal injury during Wales' loss to England at the World Cup, but he'll come on for the final moments.
And he hasn't warmed up in the last 5 or 10 minutes. He wasn't expecting that.
And it's a cold day.
He will not want a one-on-one situation with Ivan Toney if they were to counter Brentford.
He may hand him on to Davinson Sanchez. Perisic with a long throw into the near post. Headed away again as far as Basuma. Square to Hojbjerg. Hojbjerg with the Croy turn, finding Basuma again. Now Perisic. And the ball pings around him and Ruleslav and comes back towards Perisic. He delivers a cross into the penalty area, headed away by Pinnock and then volleyed clear by Godos. Sanchez steps in before Toney. Back towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area, flicked on by Doherty. And then headed away, and Perisic will win it back. And now Hojbjerg all the way back to Davies on the halfway line. His first touch. Sanchez. And it was left between Sol and Kulusevski, and it's quickly won back by Henry for Brentford on the far side. And now Janelt with the early ball forward. Sanchez stepping in though before Toney, and Tottenham have players forward now. Kulusevski looking for Kane on the edge of the penalty area. It's cleared away all the way back to Kulusevski. He wins it back, finds Son on the edge of the penalty area. A low shot from him is turned aside by Raya, and that could have been the final chance for Spurs to win it.
Brilliant play from Spurs, you have to say. You can't help but be impressed by this second half performance, but also therefore at the same time you can't help but be frustrated to keep on going, a goal down, this time 2-0 down, and coming back into it. I don't think David Raya is going to be beaten from there. He's a top-class goalkeeper. It's a decent shot from Son, left foot, 25 yards out in the corner. But I tell you what, Spurs have been magnificent since they've gone 2-0 down. They really have. This is the reaction you want. They're just, as I say, from a frustration point of view, if you are a Spurs fan, you'd be thinking, why can't we play like this for the whole game? It's impossible, Nigel, to play like this for 90 minutes, but they need to start games better.
They are a second half team at the moment, and they have been here today. Perisic with an up and under on the edge of his own penalty area. Then Davies just stumbles under the challenge of Toney. And it's all over. Well, what a game. What a return for the Premier League following the World Cup. We had drama in Doha. We have had drama here in West London today, with Tottenham coming back from 2 goals down to rescue a point against Brentford. They almost won the game in the end. And Harry Kane, who suffered such agonies for England at the World Cup, he was the catalyst for the Tottenham comeback. He almost won it with a header which came back off the crossbar. And in the end, it has been a festive treat for everybody involved here today. It is finished. Brentford 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Nigel Adderley, thank you very much. Yeah, what a way to restart the Premier League then. What a second half that was, end to end, really. This is one of those grounds where we're so close to the action on the pitch. You can pretty much see everything that's going on here. I mean, the players are all shaking hands, and the Spurs players are heading over to the away supporters as well to clap and say thank you. And they're in full voice. It's the Brentford supporters that have gone a little bit quiet. But for Tottenham, you mentioned it in commentary, Scott Minto. Yes, it's a point rescued, an important point rescued, and Spurs could have gone on to win the game. But you cannot start games like that and put yourself at such risk of dropping all three, can you?
They can't keep on doing this all season, Resh, if they're wanting to be finishing in the top four and also go deep into the competition of the Champions League. You cannot afford to be going a goal and 2 goals down all the time, because when you get into the business end of the season, you're going to be playing better and better teams. But you have to say, I can't help but give them respect for when you are 2-0 down, away to Brentford, a difficult place to go, with the fans the way they are as well, to find a way.
It's so intimate, isn't it?
It really is. It really is, and it makes the Brentford, the story of Brentford's an amazing one to be in the Premier League. So everyone's in this together here, and it makes it even harder then to be 2-0 down and to get something out of this game. But Antonio Conte will be looking at that, and Spurs fans will be looking at that. And again, the World Cup's come and gone. Nothing has changed for Spurs. They continuously do this. They've got to find a way to make sure they get the first goal. Listen, if you had another 10-15 minutes, I would have fancied Spurs to have gone on and won this game. But they will look at it, 2 points dropped rather than the point game.
Yeah, 2 goals in 6 minutes.